Hey there, this is Millen Singh, host of Spy-Fi After Dark. If you haven't noticed, it's been a little while since the last episode. We had some scheduling conflicts, and then Alex got sick, and yeah, well, here we are. Quick announcement before we do get started. We're making a couple changes here. We're going to be updating this podcast to a bi-weekly podcast instead of a weekly podcast. It's just going to fit better into my life that way and help me hopefully deliver more consistent podcasts without these big gaps. Alex and I are discussing some further changes that may happen after Season 2, but for now, Season 2 will finish its regular 10-episode season on a bi-weekly schedule. Anyways, that's all for me. Now, let's get to the episode.
I think I got the hang of it from last time.
Okay.
Ooh, he's abstaining it.
Oh.
Fuck!
You said you're getting the hang of it.
Abstaining it?
Sorry.
The fuck? I know, there goes being a clean podcast right then and there. From the start. The fuck?
Well, technically we haven't started yet.
It's just the fuck with his fucking opening. Dun, dun.
You're listening to the Spy-Fi After Dark podcast. All right, welcome back to Spy-Fi After Dark.
How to start off with that joke.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily going to be in the episode, so don't worry about it.
I know you. You don't edit.
Oh, I'll edit that much.
We talked about this earlier.
No, he's gonna edit the shit out of this. I know that. I don't think he's gonna allow it to be in there.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while, definitely.
Yeah, we had some scheduling conflict issues, and then Alex got sick, and now we're here.
Oh yeah, feeling healthy. Something
Did you get
definitely
that
passed around.
Chinese virus, the new Chinese virus.
Oh no.
What's this one
Corona?
called, guy? Yeah,
Yeah, Corona.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay, real quick though. Joined by my co-host Alex
What's going on?
and our guest Brett Hans McMurdy, affectionately known as Hans.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, coronavirus isn't a new thing, but that epidemic's pretty scary. I think like the target age demographic to be concerned with that outbreak would be older people.
Generally, yes.
Generally, because it's primarily respiratory problems, I think.
Older and younger. That's
Compound.
usually-
Yeah,
So my baby and my grandparents.
yes.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
So, Hans, your first episode with us last season is actually the most listened to episode on the podcast.
Woo! Yay!
So shortly after it came out, we got a random spike where it went from like 20 or like 10, 15 listens to like 75 in like 3 days.
What's it at now?
It's, I think, past 90. It might even be at 100, actually.
You passed 100.
Triple digits.
You know what? I'll double check it. But we got another random surge of like 20 more, like 2 days ago.
Oh,
Nice.
For some reason, even
And
though it's
I
been
haven't
months.
even published my article where I'm linking to it too on the YouTube though.
Oh, YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're tying things on different platforms.
Yeah. I've had this in draft. I actually want to kind of go over a few with him at some point.
You gotta speak into the mic. So yeah, so that's an interesting little tidbit. I'll give you the stat here. Oh, sorry, it just got 11, not 20. My bad. But it's at 93.
What trails it? Or what's in
The
second?
first episode is second at 85.
It's pretty close.
Nice.
Although if I combine the YouTube views,
I'm telling you, we got to get him, especially Alex, to sweat with Hot One stuff.
you know, that would be a good YouTube video.
I know. Just like a quick, like, short video of it, too. Just of you dying, of all of us dying.
Oh my God.
you know, just all of us just dying.
I actually love that channel.
I
Hot
do
Ones?
too.
Yeah, it's pretty enjoyable. And the host is fantastic. He's a sharp guy.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, I just forgot to mute my computer. Okay, so your episode on YouTube has a further 16 views.
Okay.
And then the first episode has a further 15 views. So actually, that would make it
crank that up with
100
little
flat.
puppeteer magic, right?
No, I'm not about that. I'm all about the authenticity,
Yeah.
Pull those puppet strings.
Oh, Jesus. Puppeteer, for those who don't know what he's talking about, is it's a bot program based.
No, it's a headless browser.
Headless browser, right?
What's the
all it
difference?
is.
Effectively.
What is a headless browser?
Effectively
It's a
a bot.
browser that, you can run this in non-headless mode, so it actually pulls up your actual Chrome browser through this dev tools protocol and stuff, and it just takes control and does anything that you script it to do.
Oh, cool.
on a web page.
Yeah.
And headless meaning it doesn't physically pull up a browser. It
Yeah,
just
so if I
simulates
set
it.
that to false, it just runs in as like a computer process behind the scenes.
Oh, cool.
So effectively, it can be a bot. It doesn't have to be, but it can be.
It often is.
Yeah.
What makes it not a bot? Because it
The
sounds
code
like
that
a
you
bot.
write,
Yeah,
Oh.
whatever you write.
just how you write it, how you use it.
Mm-hmm. Like if you write it to visit a particular set of destinations to get views or whatever, then that's obviously a bot.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, it's not necessarily a bot.
Got it.
Anyways, Hans, you've been writing on Medium lately, which
Pretty much full time.
I made the joke before the podcast started that Medium is a platform that VCs are currently burning their money on,
Which is not substantiated.
which I don't have any facts to back that up.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know.
I doubt it is a profitable business.
You never know about these kind of things, honestly.
Could be wrong. I mean, they have to pay out authors, which it's
Yeah.
kind of a black box how much of their revenue actually goes to that, so we don't really know.
Yeah.
But they also have to pay their entire staff, and they're based in San Francisco.
Their
so.
staff, the author. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how they do that. They've got to be burning somehow. Because they don't do ads at all.
Yeah, no.
How do they survive?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Subscribers.
Yeah, subscribers. I mean,
We don't know how many they have, though.
yeah. Or how many people they actually employ.
Yeah, I mean, even if they had...
But I mean, just 10 developers is easily over $1 million.
That's what I was going to say. You need...
Yeah,
You-
well, in San Francisco, 10 developers is easily over $2 million.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
That means you need at least 6 figures worth
Yeah.
of subscribers.
Yeah, if you had 100,000 subscribers, that would be
Because
at $50 a year.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be what is that, $5 million a
That's what
year?
I'm saying. Because you told me it was 50 a year.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think you could survive anything less than that.
and that's just the software staff, and that's only 10, and it could easily be more than that. It
Yeah.
probably is more than that.
Yeah.
They probably need.
That's a small team, too.
I wouldn't be surprised if their annual expenditures just for keeping their business up is like 20 million,
Yeah, I could.
somewhere
I
in the
would
10
know.
to 20
I
million
don't
I think
range.
they're mostly U.S. based because they only do in English. They don't.
Yeah, they're
really-
all U.S. based.
Yeah.
It's all San Francisco. Because that's what you do these days
where
is
their
you.
content is delivered. I mean,
Oh yeah.
their
well,
target
Whoa.
market is English speaking.
Yes.
There are a lot of people, surprisingly, from India who write, and I've noticed from my followers.
Well, they took over YouTube. Next, they're going to take over Medium.
Who?
Indians took over programming
Oh my
YouTube. Next, they take over Medium, right? It's just how the world
Probably.
works.
Do you think a lot of the development actually takes place in India?
No, I'm saying
No, I know what you're saying. I'm saying
Okay.
backtrack because I know you said they're based in San Francisco, but realistically, like, could they operate in that fashion?
no.
And
All the
survive.
developers are in the United States.
You really?
Yeah.
But there were
I'd
also, by
almost
the way,
guarantee it.
a lot of Arabs. I think from Saudi, too. Which is I think
Like
it's-
writing on the platform.
Mhm.
Yeah, the actual developers making the platform, I guarantee you, it's all San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah. That's what you do these days. Is you start a business in the most expensive market to start a business. Why? I don't know, but you do. It's just what you do.
I mean, granted, like you have eminent talent in that area, but I just don't understand
See,
how
that's
something.
that's the
That's
myth.
a lie.
No, wait. So, okay, I wouldn't know this like you guys, but I'm saying that's the only. I'm playing devil's advocate. I feel like that's the only rational argument I would think.
So
I will say
it's more to do with that's where you can get money. That's where you can get the VC
it's
money.
it's two things.
But why
It's-
can't you just face it in that
Because to burn
area?
through cash, like you need to have someone's trust, like
Face-to-face
a lot.
trust.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
and
why
that
can't-
means dinners. That means
No, sure. But why can't you face there and develop?
a lot
away?
of people actually
You could.
like will base their most stuff out of other places, like Hiring Solved locally. Have you heard of them?
hiring what?
Hiring Solved. They're
No.
mostly out here. They're more remote now, actually, from what I understand. But they have a thing in San Francisco, and I think the CEO flies out there, and that's not an uncommon thing either for a lot of different other companies.
Yeah, it's you're in San Francisco to get VC money because
Visibility.
They want to live in the most expensive city
Pride.
in the world.
Pride.
And they want to burn their money as fast as possible.
It's pride. It's pride. It's the culture. I get it.
It's
What else
ego.
would they
It's
do
100%
when
ego.
they have that much money?
Yeah, you want to burn it as fast as possible.
Get some gasoline.
It's the most
more
fun.
entertaining.
Yeah,
Go Joker style.
I don't know. Watching a tech
Old school
company,
Joker, not the last two.
watching a tech company slowly implode from lack of money is, I think, more entertaining than burning money.
Are
Personally,
you talking about your last company? No, I'm kidding.
If you mean slowly implode, you just mean slowly warp towards the eastern continent that holds India. Like,
I mean, like go from like pride in their product to like slowly trying to max every dollar out of it because the investors are getting impatient to like making the product worse
To
and
get the
therefore
the
destroying the
return.
growth and then
Right.
destroying the company. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can see
Whatever.
that.
So yeah, you're there for investor money. Theoretically, you're there for like the best talent. I think it's fair to say like some of the best talent is probably in San Francisco, like the cream of the crop.
but that's what I was. That's what I was saying by eminent
but
talent.
They don't start out there.
A-
They don't often grow up there.
Well, A, you can't afford to hire them if you're a startup. And B, there's not that many of them. Most of the market is just like anywhere else.
You
Like,
also
the market in Seattle is just as strong. It's also expensive. The market here is pretty strong. A lot less expensive.
Texas,
Market in Texas, Austin, Dallas, Houston.
New York.
They're good.
really
New
strong
York.
there.
Well, New York's also stupid expensive.
Yeah.
New York is the same as San Francisco. A little less tech focused, obviously, more finance focused, but it's the same otherwise.
Yeah.
what areas of New York? But yeah,
Manhattan.
yeah,
That's where all of it is.
yeah.
A little bit of Brooklyn. Anyways, yeah. So that's why you go to those places.
No, I understand that. I totally understand that. That's what I was saying.
I would never start a business in San Francisco because I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Because I want it to survive and be
I'd
long
never
term
even
viable.
Move it there.
No, I would never have a headquarters in San
Well,
Francisco
aside from getting VC,
or New York.
you would also want to, you'd also try to be acquired,
Yeah, that is another route.
and that's coming from
And this-
that's coming from my field,
Yeah.
the biomedical space.
Well,
that's why you
it's true in tech too.
yeah.
Theranos.
So
Yeah,
Is that how you say it?
there, yeah.
Theranos. Yeah, yeah. That's actually a good point. I'm sure a lot of people
That is why
build
you,
a startup out there so they can sell it to Google or Facebook or whatever. That's a good point. Yeah, I wouldn't be making a startup to sell it to someone, so I guess
that's not you, but
that's why I wouldn't be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the process of writing on Medium like
For me or
for you? Because it's like your full-time thing at this point.
so I have a full like Kanban like board.
Well, to be fair, your full-time thing is being a father, but this is like your other
exactly.
full-time
So
thing.
he's right there next to me writing every single day, either most of the time sleeping or like this last week watching the impeachment. He's in a little seat, he's like looking up. Like his eyes just look at his mouth open like, oh my God. He doesn't even know what's going on. And I have to explain these photos one day to him and be like, yeah, this happened.
Yeah, one day when
Regardless
he says,
of the result,
when
I
he
have to
says,
explain this
he
happened.
says, "Dad, I'm running for city council." You're like, "Who? I mean, I explain this." So yeah, what's it like?
Just very Kanban like style. I go from article to article. I just I try not to think of it as a job and just like write what I want to write about and what I enjoy kind of stuff.
So those topics are primarily like tech education right now, right?
Education, but tech, coding, mostly just coding oriented in some way, shape, or form. Whether I have like actual code or not. The last one I forgot if it was. I think it was either on VS Code extensions for the new year for like MERN stack. That already has, I think, 800 views on it. Should we use frameworks is one that has another 800 plus. One was on SSL, and just like the free market myth of it that, people focus on the authentication on SSL. I mean, and the trusting it, right? Trust doesn't matter as long as your stuff's secure. That's just bullshit, of asymmetric security theory. What does matter on the trust is when you get into higher levels of SSL, where like they have to verify the business, the paperwork that they incorporated, this. That's valid at that point. But like open SSL, free SSL, nothing matters on the trust. All that matters is that your connection is secure.
It's encrypted, yeah.
Yeah. So that people don't lose their credit card information. It kind of matters.
Or password.
And now even, passwords. Yeah, exactly. Fun story about, so I said I wasn't going to talk about my school. I will say one thing that was a funny story about that. So our login for the putting in grades didn't have an SSL.
Oh, yeah, you told me this.
And so I told someone in the security, like, you need this because, like, if anyone were just hypothetically sniffing, they get your login and they can get access and change their grades. And, like, we have a different program on a different campus. Like, they actually teach that stuff because it's IT security.
Yeah.
Like, come on. How do you not have a basic SSL on that? And they did, but before school even started, got the SSL issued and everything like that. But, like, come on. It's not rocket science. And if there's a form, you should probably have it. Not to mention, on most people's websites, now SEO-wise, we were talking about that before
if your
the
website
show.
is on the internet, you should have it.
Yeah. It should, especially now because Google will demote your site if you don't have it.
Yeah.
And
plus, if you visit it on most modern web browsers, it'll be like, wait, this is not a safe website. Don't go here.
Exactly. And so
you literally just can't afford not to have it.
Yeah, and so that was that was one of my first popular articles. I think that was the first popular article I had that.
What counts as popular?
Over 300 to 400 within a few hours views.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, no, I was clicking the refresh after I hit publish and I'm just watching it go up by like tens. I'm like, this is fun. Yeah. So I have just a few articles like that. I'm doing a whole series now of JavaScript and I'm stuck on this one article. Technically the third because there's part 0, but, just describing about the series. I'm trying to do like pre-assessments. You took that Cahoots and you're like, the fuck, this is too hard.
Yeah. It's not that it's too hard. It's too fast.
It was.
I couldn't read the questions.
Yeah. And they're pretty technical and they're lengthy. One was on, you have to know all of them and they're tricky, the different options.
Well, yeah. Plus you tricked me like 3 times.
I did.
What is
Which
this?
I wouldn't have been tricked if I had
a Kahoot quiz as an assessment that I am integrating into it. It's honestly a risky thing.
So it's like a pop quiz program,
Mm-hmm.
and you can set like length of time per question. And he set it to like 5 seconds a question. Like I literally couldn't read the question in 5 seconds. So that was
But
fun.
I also got to say, like, and I sent it to you. I sent it to someone at Infusionsoft or whatever it's called now. I refuse to call it that.
Keep.
Yeah.
Who did you send it to?
God, what was his name? I forget off the top of my head. I sent it to a few people there. One of them got back to me, and then I sent it to someone. What was the other? I sent it to quite a few people, and from like major companies. Axiosoft, I sent it to a couple people there. One person did take it, and they all had challenges with it. So I tweaked it again, and after like talking to you, and I sent it back to them as well. They're like, yeah, this is way better. This is actually kind of fun, and they shared it with their teams and stuff like that because it was challenging. But it's an introduction to JavaScript, to coding fresh, because most of the time when you learn web, you start with HTML and CSS, and it's an easy, light way to do it, but it doesn't get you in the foot of the door of just programming. And now that JavaScript is a full-blown programming language, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinion, with Node, why not just start with that? Especially because a lot of tutorials I've learned start with alert. God, I hate alert. And it's also bound to the window object.
Alert should just not be taught.
It shouldn't.
It's literally useless.
Prompt should.
That's like an alert with an input?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
So that should be taught. And then confirm, which is like the same thing. That should be taught as well. But that's also in the web. So where I'm stuck right now is I'm doing into the actual hard JavaScript overview. And I forgot the exact title, but it's like something along the lines of, what do you really know about variables, data types, and immutability, as an introductory article. So we cover that. So what are variables? What are operators? What's data types? What's immutability? Because when that's skipped or just pushed off into the intermediate ground, then people get into stuff like React and they don't know how to do things properly, and they do these things. They think that, oh, I wrote a variable as const and it's immutable. No, you're an idiot. I mean, you're not an idiot. You just weren't taught it right, really. Right? Is that's not immutable. That's some esoteric thing.
Yeah.
How long are these articles?
Depends.
Usually.
So originally I was trying to keep them down to under 2,000 for sure words. And like under 10 minutes. My goal is to try and get everyone by about 7 minutes, because I guess that's on average the most successful articles are around 7-minute read time. So, and then if they get too big, I break them up into different articles.
So what is your like total number of views, you think?
Total? Well, I'm averaging 1,000 a month now.
Dang. Okay.
I broke that. So that's nice.
So I have like one article that I've published in 2017 about SourceFed, which is a YouTube channel, and when they closed,
you showed me that.
It has been up for a long time and just been collecting views from Google, because it just happened to rank really well, and a lot of people were into SourceFed, so they wanted to know what happened. That one has 7,500 views.
Yeah, a lot of it's timing, I've noticed.
That one was purely timed, because I timed it right when they closed.
The same thing with the one that I wrote over break about extensions. 2020, everyone's doing their New Year's resolutions. Just write about various resolution-based stuff. It's really easy then.
What's the spread of topics that you'll find on Medium?
It spreads
it's
the
not
gamut.
just tech, by the way. It's a lot.
It's lifestyle. It's entrepreneurship. There's politics.
It's self-improvement.
A lot of stuff.
Excuse me, is really big.
So one thing I've noticed, though, this article that gets a lot of views from Google, it's only made me 6 cents, which is not nothing, right? And it's because they're all Google views. They're all non-members. So I'm not actually making any money.
And you're not being published through a publisher like the startup like I am.
Yes, that's also true. It was independently published outside of
And the startup helps me a lot, because I was on the front page of their publication on there.
Yeah.
It's a digital one, so it's not like that big, but it's still kind of cool.
Well, that's probably a lot of your views probably come from that.
Surprisingly, not as much as I'd like.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But also, I haven't been paying attention to the title as much and a lot of little things. So like last month I spent, and I'm still doing this on and off, is I'll look up articles on people who get like 5,000 views in a month on one article, and like, what are they doing, or what do they write about that they're doing, whether they do or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of highlight what I like or what appeals to me, like what I do or already or what I should be doing and that kind of stuff. And I try and edit my stuff. So I probably at any given time have like 5 to 8 articles almost completely written. And I just tweak them endlessly to get them as near perfect as I can, but they're never perfect. There's always something else I miss because, you're a human being.
Yeah.
You make mistakes.
So my second highest article is 998 views.
Nice.
It's a big drop.
I know.
It's still good.
No, I mean I don't know like what's considered good, but
I think most of those views are probably tack on views from the
when
first
was it
one.
released?
Much more recently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's real good.
And then you said you independently
August 18
Oh, okay, cool.
versus
so a year
like
later.
May 17.
Oh, more another. So you said that you released your article in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
and then you did what exactly? So you said that like a startup sponsoring your, or how does that work?
So Medium has this thing where they have curators and anyone can sign up to be a publication
Cool.
too. And they curate articles that are written and choose whether or not they want to publish it as a publisher.
Oh, I see.
You gotta speak into the mic.
So those publishers then basically help distribute it, and it's your followers and your reach plus theirs. And the startup is one of the largest publications. They were the largest. I don't think they are anymore. And they're more broad too. So like a lot of their articles are self-help, entrepreneurship, that kind of thing.
But so Hans writes in a much more like condensed set of topics. My 2 articles are about pretty different things.
Yeah.
And I think the second one only gets views because the first one got a bunch of views, and it will probably show up as a recommended story at the bottom of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But of course, I don't spend much time on. I don't spend any time on this. I just have collected these views over time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just interesting.
That's how
looking
it
at the
started out
stats.
for me. And like last year, I wrote a few articles just before I got hired at Westmec. I wrote then a few more, but not many. And those articles, I think up to $50 at the end of the year.
So how much? What are your earnings every month then?
I'm almost at $5 a month every month.
Okay, so I will say $5 for 1,000 views is actually really good.
No, that's not what I got paid for. It's between multiple articles. So most of my articles right now are only making on average about 17 cents or something like that per month.
No, but you're saying
that
you're
adds
getting
up.
1,000 views a month between all your articles,
Average, yeah.
and it's $5 a month. So it's
Almost.
$5 for 1,000 views.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and in aggregate.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's
I'm
better.
happy with it.
That's better than a lot of YouTube videos.
5 times at one point, right?
Yeah. Like a lot of YouTube CPMs are like $2-3. So that's pretty good.
I thought it was less than that. Damn.
I don't want to
They
give the
can be,
exact
but-
number on the mic. I can show you later, but I'm rounding up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously,
Because
it's
my
not,
goal this month for my New Year's was to get to $5. Because at that point, it makes sense for me to pay for their membership.
Yeah, just
as
to
a
pay
writer.
your membership off.
But also to give back to the other writers, because in my articles, I reference a lot of different writers on Medium because I scour and read a lot. I read probably 500 articles a month on there.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a
easily.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Easily.
Yeah, I don't read nearly that much.
Well, I skim and
That's a
if
ton. It's like 16 articles a day.
Yeah. I can easily do 20. They're fairly short articles. They're not like 20-page articles for one. So it's like reading 20 pages. That
Yeah.
doesn't take forever. The other thing is I skim through, and if it's topics that I like or that I want to write about, but sometimes people explain things different ways, and sometimes it's better and sometimes it's worse. Or it just makes sense to one person more than it does to another. So I like trying to get different perspectives on how to explain something for how I explain it as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then I link it back, especially if they're really good with it. always, because
So you want to be a better educator.
Yeah, but also just because it's like one of the topics on this one article I've been stuck on for over 2 weeks now is immutability. It's one section of it, but I am linking to this other article that goes over all of that and a lot of the same stuff I go over, but I'm linking immutability and the stuff and data types and the importance in an introductory level for people, as well as to kind of reteach people who already should know it, right? So for them that need to go into that specific thing, there's a resource for that.
Yeah, right. You're just creating a synapses for different topics.
Yeah, and it's really weird to kind of weave through that and make it short, but not fluff and that kind of thing. That's a challenge. And like, do I need a code example in this section? Sometimes no. Illustration. I create my own illustrations for a lot of these upcoming articles. Holy God, that takes so long. I sent you one the other day. That took me all day.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of stuff. And then I rewrote that too, and I'm not even going to use that one.
Oh.
And then that was just for one section for like learning JavaScript concepts. I'm doing another one for like node concepts that I still haven't gotten into, and then another one for the browser related methods for JavaScript. So the illustrations take a buttload of time, more than the actual writing, in fact.
Do we have an understanding of the like demographic
Of
medium?
what?
Medium.
It varies.
Does it though?
I'd say if I were gonna summarize it, I'd summarize it as like a white collar, generally somewhat interested in personal development type audience.
I could see that. Yeah.
So there's no area for entertainment on there, right? Pop
There
culture.
is
anything like this?
some, but I don't
Do
think
they
it
even
does
have
very
much on
well.
politics? I don't.
There's a
see
pretty
much.
decent amount on politics, actually.
Okay.
You have to follow it to actually see it, but there's a decent amount on there.
Yeah, and I haven't followed anything on there about that. So
Okay.
I don't follow much.
it's kind of
but I see a
surprising
few
I
every
don't
now and
see
again.
enough of that,
Interesting.
especially in this time with the trial going on. It's kind of shocking. In a way.
Well, it actually just goes to show you how good the curation algorithm is, that if you don't follow any of it, you don't see any of it.
yeah, that's fair, I guess.
Anyways, we'll be right back in a little short break. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spy-Fi After Dark. We hope you're enjoying it so far.
If you're loving what we got, share that shit, bitch.
And don't forget to rate and or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on.
Now back to the episode, bitch.
All right, and we're back. I wanted to pivot a little bit. Hans, last time you were here, you were working as a teacher. Now you are writing and being a father full time and considering what your future independent career might look like. Can you tell us a little bit about what that thought process looks like? I think all of us here have entrepreneurial bents, but you're arguably the closest.
Right, that's true. Good point.
So you know this too because we talked about this. One of the things I kind of want to do is like a workshop kind of thing. A workshop / almost like a boot camp for coding eventually, but I don't know what that looks like. Or do you mean more like the mindset behind?
I mean, what is going into your decision-making process? Like, what are you enjoying about your life as it is?
I've been freelancing most of my career.
Yeah.
So it's not like a big jump for me. It's just what I've always been doing, really.
Yeah. But obviously you seem to be enjoying yourself right now.
Yeah. Especially because your cat's being all friendly.
Yeah.
Cat's adorable.
Uh-huh. She's finally learning to get comfortable with visitors.
But I mean, I guess my mindset is more like it's nice not to have, like to just do your own thing and to be innovative rather than just the same thing over and over every day. Wake up, drive 2 hours to work out in Glendale kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, a half hour to an hour there and back every day. Same rinse, repeat, that kind of thing,
Well, you also now get to be a full-time father and
Yeah, and get to watch him and like play with him, all this awesome stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. And for me, like, I know that it's just a family decision, really, where it makes more sense because my wife works night shift. So it's just kind of hard to find, because on my off days, like, she still needs to sleep during the day.
Yeah.
So it's just easier on everyone, I think.
So I know we've talked a little bit about this coding workshop concept. Do you have any other like things you're interested in? Things you want to consider?
do, as you know, also want to do a YouTube thing with you, a video about getting Mr. Alex here, how to build something. And should we do the hot challenge too?
We could do something like that.
What would be a fancy title for that? Like hottest coders?
Oh God.
Like hot ones, but tag team coding is the idea.
Hot ones and zeros.
Yeah. Hot binary.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can come up with something for sure.
Yeah. We are dying from hot stuff, like eating hot, spicy food. You're just learning, and we're switching in between. We're
Why
teaching
not?
you how to do something.
Oh, I'd be down.
See? He's got a yes.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And like wildly entertaining.
No, I really want to do this. I'm glad I don't have to sell you much.
two experienced programmers dying from hot sauce trying to explain programming concepts.
Cheers to someone new. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty good video. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. Yeah. But
only if you're subscribed. No.
Yeah, all right. Need that 100 subscribers. I'm just kidding.
If we had like
that'll probably get you that 100, honestly.
Oh yeah,
probably. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Alex?
No, I was gonna say if we had like the equipment to like really invest in the quality, like of production, I would like to do like a coffee hopping YouTube channel where you just go from like coffee shop to coffee shop.
Ooh. And
you overlay your visits with discussion about intro to programming.
Wait. So, okay, explain further.
So like visually, like the primary focus is on like coffee shops. It has you walking in, there'll be like cuts to like the roaster inside, maybe the baristas, kind of the environment. You'll have like
local only though.
Maybe, or like we would travel or something and you would have like the name. It all come down quickly, like information would just like kind of flow through, like where we're at, blah, 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 whatever. Maybe the IG handle. That. And then while we walk in and like order and there's like a camera behind us or whatever, however it works, we would be talking about like programming, intro to programming, things like that.
Just like generally speaking about it?
Yeah. Literally it's just a play on Java. That's it. All of that just for a play on Java. Like all of that. All of it.
Like got my interest in losing it because I hate Java.
No, literally just drone footage.
Just Java
like no,
Java.
like
By the way, speaking of drones, I do have an article on coding a drone. And I forgot to bring it here because I was going to show you.
Is it published?
No, it's not. Because
can you publish it within the next 2 days?
Why?
Because that's when this podcast will probably come out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, work on it with me, and sure.
I'm just trying to help you out so you can like actually link it.
So I'm not sure if I want it in this series, and if it's in the series, it's too early. That's the problem. I want to publish it by the end of the month. It's about, I'd say at least 50% done. A lot of the heavy lifting's done. Explain like how to read the document. It's not even documentation. It's an SDK PDF.
Okay. PDF. Wow.
Oh God.
Yikes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's even more.
Yeah, nice. I think doing I enjoyed the idea of somehow doing us handicapped versus Alex in a programming challenge.
They're pretty cool. Actually, I just have I had a revisited that thought I had and modified it. Okay, so like the whole coffee shop thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd be cool if we had a series in which any one of us three or a combination would do something like that. It didn't have to be coffee shops, but we did something like that and we learned something. And we literally blogged or videoed every day, invested into learning that thing, and it'd be a series. So like
Cool.
even if you wanted to learn like Spanish, you would have like videos of.
So it's just like learning in the coffee shop.
Yeah, it didn't have to
like
even
that.
be coffee shops. It didn't have, but like I like the idea of blogging about learning something and not like.
I like doing that too. That's a lot of my articles are on.
Very cool, and it wouldn't be like blogging in a sense of like point of view at your face and like you just talking and like trying to look your best. It would run like I don't want to say like a show, but essentially like again like it would be.
Would there just be like gratuitous Michael Bay sweeping shots?
Yeah, no, a lot of sweeping shots,
Get some
panning
drone
shots.
shots.
So
Oh,
120
no, yeah.
FPS, like
Right, that's what I'm saying. Production value, like
Yeah.
like espressos pouring into the fucking ceramic like shot glass, and you're
yeah,
like zooming
you
in
have
on
like
it.
you have like the camera down
Right.
like at the bottom of a cup, like as
Right.
the coffee pours into the cup.
The
on
milk
top of the
frother
camera.
is like in slow mo, and you
You
just see like
really,
the barista.
really like coffee.
No, and the barista's like blurred out, but you see like her teeth, and as she's just grinning and like fucking frothing
Open
it for
shirt
you.
for teeth aren't like photogenic
I know,
because she drinks coffee.
right.
Well,
I know, I
she
was
could be
thinking the same
whitened,
thing.
though.
True.
It's possible.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, I didn't
Fucking
tell you how
door
I did some
opens
of my
into the
early
coffee shop.
websites, did I? By the way,
You
it's
said
related
what?
to coffee, but not coffee shops, but
Wait, what was that?
how okay, so we started the segment with like your mindset, right? So, and I said how I freelance, right? So one of the things, instead of coffee shops, I used to go down to bars, and I'd literally just, if I'd check out, like scout it out beforehand and like talk to the owner and like meet them and do like a light introduction beforehand. Then when they're there next, I'd talk to them and be like, hey, so I'm just going to be building out a website today. How'd you like me to just build you one? And if you like it, just cover my tab up to $100. And I'd just drink and code. And
Damn.
I didn't have to pick up my tab that often.
Oh. Nice.
When I did, it's because I went over 100.
That's fair.
Got it.
Yeah, it is. But it's like they got a really good deal on a website.
Yeah.
You know? And this was before Wix and everything was really popular. But like you talking about the coffee shop made me remember
That's pretty cool.
going in there and just getting trashed as I built a website to learn how to do it. Because you just learn by doing, you know?
Right.
Especially when you're self-taught.
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely pursue something along these lines. I have the equipment now.
Oh, hell
Yeah, I know.
Like I have the means.
And you're not doing anything with it.
Well, okay, hold on. It's not
We know
entirely
you're not
accurate.
editing either.
That's also not entirely accurate.
No. Yeah, I don't want to take too much away from
I know, I'm teasing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we can pursue something
Definitely.
like that. So what do you think?
And yes, I am like slightly obsessed with coffee.
Slightly.
Slightly. A lot.
No, but like I can see. I mean, I can.
If you
This is the
don't
thing-
have
this is the
coffee
thing with-
tomorrow, will you go into withdrawal?
I don't know because I don't get caffeine-induced headaches very easily, even
He
though I
doesn't
drink
know
an
because
absurd
he
amount.
hasn't not have coffee.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up. Well, I cut out pre-workout, and pre-workout, albeit is not coffee. I essentially cut my caffeine intake by 50% cold turkey and had no repercussions.
Yeah, but that 50% being immediately taken away by the workout, like used up immediately.
But like,
So it's not like it was long term affecting your body. It was in you for like an hour, and sort of uptake like real fast.
no, but like, okay, so the thing is when you work out, though, contrary to what you're saying, you would know how things like caffeine and lack thereof would impact your body more because your body's being put to the test.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like if you work out, if you do any kind of strenuous activity and you want to see how a certain food or supplement or substitution impacts you physically, it'd be nice to have something that actually induces some kind of stress. Like you're essentially pressure testing that factor. Do you know what I'm saying?
Pressure testing?
Pressure testing in the sense of, look, I'm going to say I don't need this caffeine, right? What's a better way than to go to the gym? And then now you have a metric because you're putting your body under stress. Caffeine would normally get you out of that hole. It actually digs a deeper hole, but we don't have to get into that conversation. It gets you out of a hole, but it like what you're doing is you're getting out of a hole.
It tricks your body is what it does.
Yes, that's correct.
Correcto mundo.
That's correcto. È correcte. Correctacini.
You're not Italian.
You didn't see the hand gesture?
Not to totally derail the topic, but to totally derail the topic. What do you think about the state of freelancing for web developers today?
I think it's awful. I think it, in my experience, always has been, because any kind of entrepreneurship, especially like it requires some legwork, and it just depends on who you are, what kind of business you're running, whether it's real estate or whatever. That's always going to be the biggest challenge for any kind of freelancing, I think, or independent contractor work.
So
of any type.
So I also agree that it's really never been good, but I'd say that today you have a very disjointed market where if someone asked me for advice on a website, right? Because people in my network know I make websites and that's my thing. That's one of my things anyway. I'm good at it. If they ask me about it, I say, don't bother hiring me.
Why?
It's not worth it, because you can get, for whatever you, generally speaking, for whatever you're doing, go to Wix, go to Squarespace.
You can get 80% of it for much less.
You get 80 to 90% of what you need.
Yeah. And they're not, it's like
for $15 a month.
It's like getting,
I would never advise WordPress, because that always digs them into a hole. Wix, I get.
WordPress is, you don't even have to use it. That's the thing, is like, that used to be like the saving grace, was like everyone want WordPress, and you could charge $5,000 for a basic WordPress site, but it's just not necessary. You got Wix, you got Squarespace, you got all these other things that does 80%, 90% of what WordPress does for everyone. Not everyone, but for most people who use it.
And then the application needs to be of a certain type to warrant more, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So then on the flip side, there's actually an expanded high-end market of businesses that were small and are becoming not so small. They're reaching maybe 7-figure revenue, approaching 7 figures.
And
now
can't
they
afford
need
that site to go down, and they need something custom.
Exactly. They need something that's going to take them to the next level and give them a lot more options.
I
from
think
a commerce perspective.
It's hard to learn from actual clients when you're starting off, whether you're have a cert, a degree, or you're self-taught like me, because of Wix, because of WordPress. I have really mixed opinions on it, because on the one hand, it was before Wix and everything. It made websites more accessible for people to just get a website up, but it's become and it is still over a 25% of the entire web, but it's just so it just always breaks. And it's not like if it'll break, it's when and how will it break.
So to bounce off this question, what do you think are the realistic routes for people who want to get into programming as a career? Because freelancing used to be a route.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is viably a route anymore.
I think it's also a really hard route to take in America or any first world country, because...
Well, but if you're not taking it in America, that's... Yeah, okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because especially when you're freelancing digitally,
yeah.
When you're freelancing digitally, it's very hard to do that, because here's the trick. You either stick to your guns and you stick with at least 5,000 and never go below that. And so people will just instinctively go to you because there must be a reason you're charging $5,000, right? And this other guy in X country is charging 50 cents or up,
Yeah.
God, I hope
$50.
it doesn't get that low,
So
but it's like $100.
So
Yeah.
disrespectful.
It's not inaccurate. That's the thing.
I'd say,
I've seen
50 to $100.
I haven't seen 50 cents, but I've seen over. And what that does is like it just undercuts the value and the difficulty of our work, and it's so self-destructive to people getting into the field, because then they don't have the experience to go to a major companies, and it creates more of a demand because it can't be met, and it's. The problem with coding is that there's exponentially increasing expectations, and those expectations are increasingly being failed to be met.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, freelancing is
So-
not going
so-
to give you enough traction for you to get experience.
Well,
for
No,
you
it,
to,
it can. It's just so hard because
but it sounds like it generally
when
won't.
you start off, like, you either just have to stick with your guns and overprice yourself, and honestly, that's so risky, especially early on, because you could definitely get sued, and I've known people who've gotten sued because they overcharged and they couldn't over deliver because they didn't have the skills yet. Right?
And as a freelancer,
Or they undercut them and everyone else in the market.
and when we discuss freelancing, we're assuming some kind of skill level.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about just skill. I'm also talking about talent with respect to skill and experience. Because
Well,
look,
'cause
not everyone's going to grow at the same rate either from said experience acquired from freelancing.
Well, my main problem with it though is it's disingenuous and unnecessary. Like, I could create a really great small business website, say on WordPress, we'll just use that as an example, or I could do something else. I could do it for, say, $5,000, let's say, for like a week, 2 weeks. And because of my expertise, I can host it on a great virtual server with continuous deployment, so I can make updates without affecting the uptime of the website. Like, it can be really high quality, have all these great features. But I cannot in good conscience recommend that to someone when I know they could go to Squarespace and get the exact same thing without quite the level of customization for $15 a month.
And so on freelancing or any business, that's the biggest problem, is when you have to assess that they have that need and weed that out.
And that's
that
the thing,
takes
is
so
if
much
they were a larger business that wanted a custom solution for all the things custom solutions bring you, which is branding is exactly how you want it to be. You have much more control over like what SEO tools you have available to you, how you want to tailor the content of your site, how you want to structure it. You get stuff like that. Sure. But then if we're talking that, we're going like $20,000, $30,000 for like a solid e-commerce website.
I think the best alternative to freelancing for people getting into it is honestly hackathons, and especially Startup Weekend.
Okay. And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, because obviously this route of like building like proper e-commerce sites, something like that, you can't do that as a beginner.
Yeah.
It's not reasonable.
Well, it's a great way to meet people who are hired in the industry.
My cat just
It's a
turned on my
great way
computer.
to practice what you know or what you don't know. And it's also it's a good way to learn,
Makes sense. Were you doing that for quite some time?
What, the freelancing or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still do on and off.
Oh,
It
okay, cool.
depends. I lean more towards consulting now, where it's more like advice and just like team development and that kind of stuff.
Millen, do you still do any of that freelancing?
No.
And it's
I
mostly
only
because
did-
the legwork is so much.
Mm-hmm.
I only did a little bit, and I came in when it was basically starting to be exactly what I was saying.
Yeah. Same.
So I couldn't stick with it realistically.
I had always more success with like the bar hopping kind of thing because it's in person, it's fun, and it's just it's easier just to say like, hey, I just need this experience and I'm going to do this anyway. Like sometimes early on, I'd just tell them, I'm going to build your website, whether you like it or not. And I'm not publishing it anywhere. It'll only ever exist on my computer. But hey, if you like it, let me know and we can do something. Is kind of how I started. And then I got a process down to it. And that building that process too takes the time. And yeah.
So do you think it's possible for boot camps to fill that kind of a void?
Of freelancing or...
To fill that void as a means of getting people ready to join the industry.
I think that I haven't personally seen a boot camp or a university or something that incorporates events into the curriculum, and by events I mean plural, that are related to coding, like a hackathon. West Mech kind of, for example, did one with a parents' night. So that's the closest, but I wasn't there long enough to see how that actually works out there.
Okay.
Unfortunately. And I was looking forward to that for exactly that reason, because that's unique compared to a boot camp.
So how long do you think it would take someone to go from zero to ready to join the industry?
It all depends on that individual.
Okay,
it
well,
can, in theory,
obviously, but like let's
if you have
do
a 12-hour day
average.
every day, you could absolutely get into it within a week or 30 days. Absolutely. It
30
depends
days.
what technology.
Let's say like a standard front end job.
A week. Easily. Not for WordPress, a week.
No. Sorry, a front end software job.
Front end software,
Like
6
a web,
months
like
is,
web app. You're working on a web application.
6 months is. I don't think it should ever be less than
If you
6
were
months.
if you were straight up full time.
Even
okay.
if it's full time.
What about for something
just
that?
Because you need that repetition.
What about something that's? Well, I agree with you. There's no way it's going to be less than 6 months. Yeah. But what about for someone who, more realistically, someone who's got 5 to 10 hours a week?
Same thing, at least 6. For 5 to 10, I honestly think for 5 to 10 hours of availability a week total.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Something in like at least a year.
Yeah, that
maybe
sounds,
even 2.
I'd say at least a year. I think you'd
I could
be
say
losing
realistically
quality at 2.
Realistically, a year, and then if you like really dedicate the last like 2 months, basically full time.
I think the lowest you could do is at that a number of hours, 10 hours a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tops, total hours a week. I don't think it's possible to do it well, even with the best instructors in the entire world, in under 10 months. For a front end, at like a name brand company, whether it's local or national, I don't think you could get that.
You mean starting from zero?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would the path look like to you?
That's a hard question to answer. Because
just like
they're so
rough concepts.
JavaScript from the start. You introduce CSS and HTML side by side, but start with JavaScript because you can just use it everywhere. It should always start with JavaScript, in my opinion. It should never start with even Python, which is a great language, or Ruby.
By the way, can you do Node as like a console application?
Yeah. A lot of...
I've never done this.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure. I'm like sure it's possible.
A lot are. Create React app.
That's a Node script?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'll give you like what I think a high level overview would be.
In fact, there's a whole education, called Node School, where it's all command line, and you learn through command line.
So this is how I would more or less go about it. I would start with this like JavaScript on the command line.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'd start, because the first thing you want to teach is like fundamental logic concepts,
mm-hmm.
right? Then I would move from there to actually HTML, so you can see like how a web page is composed.
I would move to the server first, and the fundamentals, request and response, not necessarily with Express, But then because Node has HTTP server built in, build that server out, and then you just push the HTML through JavaScript, not as a separate file.
Okay, that's
And then
fair.
you're explaining that, okay, when they hit this route or whatever, the server is going to send them this.
Yeah.
Because now you're teaching them how, like, even PHP works effectively, is it compiles down to HTML and it's just sent to that user.
So, okay. So,
and it's just a very real fundamental.
okay, that's fair. So I would move from there.
That's how my series is approaching it.
I would move from there to HTML so you can see how a page is actually composed. At this point, I'd pretty much just give them CSS. And then...
I think the only things on CSS that you need to cover at a core level is the padding, margin, the box model.
Box model, yeah. That's fair.
And then just some basic stuff like backgrounds, colors.
So I'd give them some
the box
HTML.
model, typography, and like color, and then display types are really the essentials that you need for CSS.
Display types.
Everything else you can learn and expand on.
Positioning.
Which I would
box
lump
model.
into that into display because that's how you position things.
So yeah, we'd go there, and then we'd integrate JavaScript into the browser. Talk about how that works
and how it's different from Node, because like Window is not available in Node.
Yeah, but specifically like starting to use JavaScript on the browser side and seeing how that communicates back and forth.
It fundamentally works differently too, because like var is a function scoped variable, but in the browser it's automatically bound to the window object when you use it. It's not at all like that in Node. It only works that way in the browser.
Sure.
Right?
So I mean, these little things would go in there. I'm just talking at a high level.
Yeah.
Those little things would go in there for sure, and then you'd sort of move to get into a framework a little bit, and then at the very end, I'd teach some design in CSS. I think that's how I would more or less structure it.
I agree, 100%.
Wow, you've come really far in this episode. Considering how long you've been listening, you should probably consider subscribing and maybe even leaving us a rating on whatever platform you're listening on. I know. Everyone asks every episode, but I mean, come on. You've been listening to it for an hour. It's the least you could do, really. Now back to the episode. And at the very end, I teach some design in CSS. I think that's how I would more or less structure it.
I agree, 100%.
What do you think, Alex? Did any of that make any sense?
Well, I checked out for a second. So the highest level, give me a rundown. And this is how long again?
This is like for, say, a year if you just got like 10 hours a week.
So this structure or this format is for the 10 hours a week?
I would love to try and teach you this while we're dying from hot sauce, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. 10 months worth of content on YouTube?
Holla! No, like as in one session.
Oh, damn.
To get us through as much as we can, at least.
Yeah. So basically, you know how we did Java and we were doing stuff on the command line, basically? Same concept with JavaScript.
Like every concept in JavaScript will have like a Scoville amount based on the complexity.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Oh my god,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, like a JavaScript concept is on the screen and you're.
I love that
with like
so much. Go over lexical scope. It's just automatically DeBomb and higher.
And both you're just profusely sweating like crazy.
I'm dying. Slow down. Stop learning.
Nobody's eating anything.
I can't teach you. I'm dying. You're learning too fast.
Oh my god.
My poor liver.
The levels in Audition just went like nuts for the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
I love that so much. Yes.
Is there like when it comes to like
Actually, I'm like really curious how much of the like programming fundamental concepts you still remember.
Like none.
If I put you in front of some Java, I'm like genuinely curious.
Do you know any terminal?
No.
You didn't teach him any of that?
No.
Mm-mm.
This was before I really knew it that well. So.
Okay. What is terminal?
And I barely even
it
know
sounds
well.
nuanced. Never mind.
So it's okay. So you know how on
fuck.
movies you pull up like you see like the Matrix text.
Terminal is command prompt, command line.
But he doesn't know what that is.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's in... Wait, you can incorporate that in Java?
Anything.
Well, in anything really. That's what I'm talking about is writing JavaScript programs that run in terminal. It's the same as how we had the like console thing in Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between that and using the console in Eclipse?
The console
I
in
don't know
Eclipse
about Eclipse.
is it's like a runtime environment that you're building your Java into.
It's virtual,
but
right?
you can do the same. Like we could have run our scripts by running Java. Our God, I don't remember the exact command. Like Java.
Don't look at me.
Java C for Java compile.
Well, does that console
folder
talk
name.
to something that would otherwise be that command?
So yes, basically, because the
So it's
command
another
prompt,
layer?
it's literally like its own command prompt. So in the command line, and this is how like it used to be. It is like done at a base level. Java exists as a program, right, that interprets a virtual language. The program is accessible in the command line with terms, Java, Java C, which is Java for like running Java. Java C is Java compile.
Mm-hmm.
You'd run that Java C to compile your folder, and then you'd run Java on your folder, and it would find your main script and run your thing. And then we'd see the output and the input just like we saw in the console in Eclipse. Be the same. The Eclipse just like simplifies it by wrapping all that into just clicking a play button.
For Java, isn't it all in its own like container almost?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because otherwise you could literally brick your computer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Java runs as its own process. And
I know
then-
when I was learning C, I definitely turned off my computer. Oops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the memory
it's
of my
safe.
computer maxed out.
It's safe, and it generally won't let you do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the terminal is a way that elite hacker bros, navigate their computer.
No, I'm not talking like
They use a shell.
No.
What's it called?
So a lot of people,
I use it too.
I use Vim and V when I need to, but like for editing system, so V and
Files,
Vim
yeah.
are like,
It's a text editor built into the terminal.
right. So it's Eclipse in that terminal that I showed you, and
Very
some
stripped
people
down, but
do what's called Vim, which is like it's way more complex version of that. And those are the elite little hacker.
Yeah, I have some coworkers that code in Vim or whatever.
I'm sorry, but am I wrong? But those people are always kind of jackasses. Am I
Yeah,
wrong? They're kind of always jackasses.
I don't want to badmouth them too bad because they're not bad people, but
You sure?
no, they're really not.
What's the like utility of Vim?
I don't think there
It's
is
just
any.
preference.
It's preference.
The
Some people like
learning
customizing their
curve
terminal.
is a lot higher. You don't have to switch from terminal, so it's all in one place. Is why a lot of people do it.
There's undoubtedly some convenience.
You
to it.
you can use it on any machine. So like Millen can take his computer, go into some server anywhere in the world, and then have the same editor. They don't have to install that editor on that server.
Yeah.
That's the main convenience.
'Cause it comes
So when
with
I
all
use it,
Linux-based
it's either for
operating
editing my
systems.
system files on here, which it's just more easier to do it that way,
Mm-hmm.
or for like GitHub kind of stuff, or
I use it a little bit for Git now.
yeah, same.
I didn't before, but I do kind of now.
And then like
That's
in
only
some
because source code is really
pre-production
slow with our
servers,
repo at work.
You have to change some configuration files on the server, and so I'll SSH into that server and then use that editor to change them. Or the same thing for like a circuit board. I'll go into the circuit board remotely and I'll change some files, low-level files on that board to do something. Turn on an LED, make a drone fly, whatever, something.
So, like, the long and short of it is it's another way of navigating a computer that's, like, aside from a visual file browser. So you can, you'll basically zip around your computer with keyboard commands, and it can be fast if you know what you're doing. It feels really fun if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You feel kind of like an elite hacker bro every now and again.
Yeah.
And then, you can set up like aliases that are like shortcuts to do stuff. And
I haven't gotten too much into that because.
But it's one of those things like I would only teach like the very basics in the intro course.
Right. So what I taught in school and what I taught in my last article was LS.
I teach people
the files, like the folders, seeing hidden files with -A, changing what folder you're in, going into one, going back out, creating a folder, deleting a file, creating a file with like touch, which
I don't even do that.
And then I would go, the only furthest step I would go past that is chmod and what is it? Chmod, and which changes the modification of a file. It's this slight security thing. So like you can make a file read only, write only, or execute only, or all of them, and you're just changing the permissions, that kind of stuff. That's really fun to like teach people how their programs can break too.
I would teach navigation.
Yeah.
That's basically
LS and CD are the most essential.
I teach that, and then maybe like a little bit of Vim, just so you know, or VI.
I teach
so
Nano over V.
Yeah.
I'd show them if it's in person.
I do it just for the purposes of, again, like editing like host file or bash file or
but
that
Nano
kind of stuff.
is easier to exit. That
could be
:QY. Who thought that was a good idea? For God's sakes, come on.
It's not that bad.
It is that bad because you literally have code that requires that goddamn colon.
Well, no, but
and then it forces you to kick out.
Not if you're in insert mode and you hit colon, it'll just type a colon.
You
have to exit insert mode,
right?
You hit I to go into insert, escape to exit it.
Oh, see, I didn't even know it that much.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's kind of like esoteric, but I teach just a little bit, mostly so you don't feel lost when your coworkers are doing it around you.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I teach it. Is I don't want, if you go into an entry level job, I don't want you to be like, oh my God, what is he doing? Like, and I don't want you to look bad because you don't know.
I had my kids like change the permissions on the node modules folder so that everything broke.
Oh, geez.
There was a whole thing where like they'd do the project and I'd have someone else break the project. The whole class knew, and their job was to guide that person to fix their project. So it could be deleting the node modules folder and having them recognize, hey, I need to install it. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff. So again, when they get to the job, they don't, they have confidence.
Yeah.
And don't feel
inadequate
and insecure.
That's the focus for me, is like, if I'm teaching someone how to code in a year, like I want to get you to a point where you feel at least secure enough in what you know that you won't get lost in an entry level job.
Yeah.
And you can have some footing and know how to ask some good questions and sort of wade through the early waters to get to some calmer stuff. And then you're like, okay, I think I sort of know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And it usually takes a good few months. I mean, it even took a few months for me at my current job, and I had experience. So, that would be my main concern. I don't know. Is any of this interesting to you, Alex?
Yeah.
Gotta bring the hot sauce.
I'm just not familiar. But
Want to do the hot sauce thing this month? Come on,
God.
Let's get a.
I'm like,
there's only a few days left.
One more.
Oh, sorry. Next
Right.
month.
I'm more worried about
February.
the hot sauce.
For who?
You won't have to do it.
Oh, it's just you two,
Well,
right?
what I was thinking is we all do it in the intro just to get a sense of how it is and just like some fun video, right?
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Just some quick snippets that would be like part of the intro. But then me and you only have to do it. Maybe if you want to, you could do it halfway in at a middle ground, right?
If
but
he's
it's
doing too
completely
well.
optional.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, God.
But it's up to you guys and you, because the focus would be how do we trade off in how we're teaching you how to do this.
I also like the concept of after he's learned a little bit, us like versing him in something, but we have handicaps. Like we have to eat
that's
something
not
really
bad.
spicy, or we can only touch the keyboard for 5 minutes
One
out of
hand
every 30
typing.
minutes. Or one hand.
Type with your toes.
Or no,
that's me.
ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Or
No, I play video games with my feet sometimes.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's pretty
I
impressive.
used to play. It started off with Halo when. So you have the tank.
like all things Halo.
I was gonna say of
Well,
all
because-
things, one of the most like
Well,
dexterous.
because you could do
Or demanding, sorry.
Driving a vehicle's not. So
it's
what I
less
do is
demanding.
no Halo. I thought
No,
Halo.
driving a vehicle in Halo.
yeah. So
No, you're
like,
right.
I would-
Halo is very
because
like,
you have a
intense.
guest character, so I'd log into the guest because I didn't have to create a new Xbox or anything like that, and I just do 2 controllers. I put the controller on the floor, and I'd just get into the vehicle, and then I'd be on like the gunner.
Oh, I see. That's really sharp.
Just driving around and then going.
That's actually
It's
like-
hilarious. So you were playing 2 people on Halo
Yeah,
multiplayer?
that's actually hilarious.
Yeah, that's great. That's
I don't
phenomenal.
know. I haven't done that for so long. I don't even know. And it's not like it's in your head. You might think someone doing it better than I did. It's mostly for fun and for challenges when I was hanging out with friends. and
Yeah.
stuff.
God damn.
Or on Battlefield, so I broke both my wrists, and so this was in a full cast, my right hand, and so I couldn't use the full controller, so I'd have to like move my finger like all the way up and just weird little things. But I could still fly a helicopter like under a bridge and everything. And at some point, I learned to just like put my foot up, and like I would use the stick with that.
Interesting.
Amazing what humans can do when Mother Nature necessitates innovation.
Yep.
Yep.
Or like people in the Battlefield community were complaining about visibility issues and MMGs being overpowered. So I tape my right foot onto my controller, remap it, to my left controller, and I control everything on there, and I just play with my right hand and my left foot. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I killed like 5 MMG players. One-handed. Shut up. Stop being a noob. Just shut up. Stop ruining this game.
God damn. I don't have any story like that.
Yeah. We could like do 5v1 Rainbow Six Siege against
Oh,
Sons.
I couldn't do Rainbow Siege like that. That's suicide for me. But
That would take both feet.
I-
you know what's
we need
funny
to-
though is there's a very, very popular Twitch stream and a video of it now where a guy, he's handicapped. That's all he plays with is his feet, or one hand, one foot, I think is what it is. And he won Apex Legends, a match first place.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's epic. It's so cool.
Apex?
Yeah.
It's a
Battle Royale.
Royale. The,
Yeah.
the Titanfall universe.
Oh, not the event.
And like,
No.
dude,
Okay, I
he
thought
played,
Apex, like as in like the.
he played better
massive.
than me with 2 hands.
Oh, interesting.
So one of the videos I do want to do is get Sammy to play Rainbow Six.
I know.
I
That'd
still
be
haven't
really
played
funny.
that game. I really want to.
I tried CS:GO recently for the first time. It's
Uh-oh.
my first like real experience with the first-person shooting.
How is that different than the original Counter-Strike?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I haven't. I have no experience
It's,
with FPS.
They're very similar mechanically, I believe.
Like even the graphics look the same to me.
They're better, but
A
yeah,
little.
same theme.
They're all very like paper-like still. They're not as 60 and 64 level graphics.
Yeah, no, it's a big improvement graphically, but like thematically, it's similar. I can see why you would say they look similar. Now, I haven't played either of them that much. I've watched a little bit. I get the
Yeah.
gist of it. It's not really my kind of shooter.
Same.
Yeah, it was.
I'd love to watch you play like Modern Warfare.
My
Yeah.
adrenaline was like spiked. I've never played games like this.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
dude, yeah.
And I have like a really good quick twitch,
Okay.
so I was surprised.
All
So was
right.
Krish, my roommate. He's like, "What?" I didn't do that well because CS:GO, like, you got veterans on there that like are very, very good.
Yeah.
There's no way I can compete.
Yeah.
But he was surprised I was getting kills. I mean, I was surprised I was getting kills. I'm telling you, I've never played FPS. Like,
I mean,
ever.
I'm surprised you got kills.
Yeah, I'm first time
Yeah,
I was getting
I wasn't
kills.
even watching.
When we played on Modern Warfare, you were doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Millen, you're pretty good at FPS games in general, right?
Reasonably, yeah.
I've seen him play Rainbow Six. That's it.
I mean, he was playing against console people, right? Or were
Occasionally.
we mixed?
It's mixed. It was cross-platform, so it's both.
Consoles are handicapped, right?
Oh yeah, we had to. That's right.
I mean, I would say inherently yes, but they also
Right.
get advantages in that they get some like sticky aim properties.
Some do.
So like your aim was not like where your stick goes is not exactly where your aim goes. Your aim will stick a little bit to targets.
Yeah.
So it'll help
Wait,
you stay on target better.
Was that set in for them?
Yes.
Yes.
That's stupid.
That's been a
agree.
thing in console
I disabled
shooters.
that on Battlefield because it actually, like, you say you're aiming down at, say I'm aiming at you and Millen just runs in front of me.
it's a
Then
delay for you.
No, my gun will actually start tracking Millen, and now my shot on you is messed up. That's annoying.
So yeah, that kind of stuff can happen, but it was invented actually a long time. I think with Halo was the first one to
Was
do
it?
this, I believe, because to compensate for the fact that the sticks on a controller are much less accurate than a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically added some of this to make it easier to aim with a controller.
No, I understand why it's added. It's just I don't like it.
I would really love to see a
but
controller
it's not.
with a ball.
It's not super strong. It's honestly hard to notice.
Is there any spare button on a console controller?
No.
Not a single one.
The Elite
Generally
can have
not.
a lot of spares. Yeah. The
What do you
Elite
mean?
can.
Spare button?
Like one that you don't use is what you mean, right?
Yes. Is there a single button?
Not in terms of the button mapping in a game. No, there's never a spare button.
Really?
I disagree.
Not with shooters.
I don't
They
think
use
you're
every
Most
handling that
modern
many.
shooters,
It doesn't
yes.
mean you use them all, but they're all mapped
But why couldn't you map that sticky application to a button?
because it's not programmed like that.
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Then you could turn it off, like your situation.
There are ways I think to do stuff like that, but that's when people start accusing you of hacking, which is where you have this little USB thing, and this is how you actually get. For games that don't support keyboard and mouse, it's the same way that you get keyboard and mouse to console. Like Battlefield, it's supposed to support it, but it doesn't. So I would have to buy this little USB thing and then plug in my keyboard and mouse to that. And then, but that thing I can also script for exactly that. So like I can tell it, hey, when I press B 5
Yeah.
times, do this.
Got it.
So yeah.
Aim right down here, fire 3 bullets with no recoil.
yeah. So
Cool. Yeah, I'm more of he knows. I play fighting games. Well, historically,
Oh,
I
that's
did.
right.
Yeah, so I don't have any like FPS experience. But it was
Smash. Mostly Smash.
Mostly
I used
Smash.
to do
Tekken in the past.
I
but
used
yeah,
to do
mostly
like
Smash.
LAN-ish parties with Xbox with my friends
Oh, that's cool.
through high school. So that was fun. We had a weird tradition where the first person that fell asleep woke up with a banana. I don't know why or how it started, but it became a
You
thing.
know, one of the videos I want to do is a Modern Warfare firefight tournament. Like just invite a bunch of people and do a tournament because it's 2v2.
Okay.
So you can have a reasonable number of teams to have like a real bracket.
Yeah.
So like a double elimination bracket, have it be like well edited.
Have you seen Escape from Tarkov?
Tarkov? Yeah.
What do you think of that?
It looks fine. I don't know. I
really
wouldn't
wanna
play
play
it.
it.
I wouldn't play it myself.
Why?
It's just not my kind of thing.
See, I wish that was like a BR. So you drop in either as like a skiv with random loot, random just stuff, or you can, because then my biggest pet peeve against Battle Royale is that all that looting is just a waste.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the biggest criticism from what I see of that other game, Escape, is that there's so many periods where people are just like when I'm watching streams of people play it, it's too slow because there's not that circle forcing them to go somewhere.
Yeah.
and not like you shouldn't be able to drop in with full gear kind of thing, but a thing where you can choose a customized handgun that you got from your last drop.
Yeah.
Or a piece of armor.
But you also
one or the other.
you lose your stuff if you die.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting.
So
mechanic.
you drop in the next time as a skiv.
So that's the thing is like I'm
Is
not.
this online?
Yeah.
Tarkov?
PvP Escape from Tarkov.
Tarkov doesn't do that, unfortunately. It's you randomly spawn into this. They have different maps, right? And like it's like DayZ, if you've seen that. Arma, not Arma, but DayZ, which is a mod of that. You go around looting for just parts and stuff, kind of like Fallout. Mm-hmm. Have you played Fallout?
No, I've seen it.
Most of these video game references are not going to land on them.
No, like, at all. I pretty much checked out at like age 15.
So you drop into the game, you can scavenge around, you try to kill players. There's some CPU AI enemies you can kill. Mm-hmm. You loot from enemies you kill, whether they AI or player.
Enemy players.
When you spawn in, you can either spawn in as what's called, I think it's actually a scav.
Are they distinguishable?
Yeah.
They're mildly distinguishable, yes. How? Behavior patterns and look.
Like
behavior patterns look really.
Yeah, but it's not like super obvious if I remember right. But it's kind of like if you play the game enough, it's kind of obvious. Like I've only watched people play it, and there are people who've played it enough to where they recognize it pretty much right away. So like it's clearly possible. So anyways,
do you kind of know what you're up against prior to fighting?
I don't think so.
No.
Do you know what I mean in terms of level or
no? Well, the zones are different from what I've seen. Like. They'll have the same boss, and different maps have different difficulty of bosses. The bosses are NPCs that you can kill for better loot.
Yeah. So the main thing, though, is you spawn in either as a scav with random stuff and generally low-level stuff, but you're not going to lose anything. Or you can bring in a loadout and equipment that you've looted over time. You risk losing it if you die.
High reward.
Or if you die and your friends can like pick your stuff up for you and recover it. But if they can't carry everything, or if they die, then you lose it, So you risk losing the stuff, but you spawn in with better equipment. Mm-hmm. So it's a risk-reward kind of a thing. And I don't know if there's like much of a meta game outside of it. I'm not familiar. I don't think so. It just seems like a game you play for the sake of the game.
Yeah.
Which, it doesn't really interest me that much. It was reasonably fun to watch, but it's because I like the people I was watching.
Yeah.
Not because of the game.
I was watching Disrespect today. He's fun.
I don't watch him.
I don't watch him very often, like almost at all, but he's just a fun character. Do you know of Dr. Disrespect?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God.
I don't know much about him either.
He has like this 80s persona.
Oh, cool.
And he always wears these red glasses. He never takes them off ever. So I don't even think there is a photo of him without his glasses on.
Yeah.
And he's just like this, puts on this ultra alpha male person. Like, I'm the best. And he just builds up all this hype and stuff. Like the Champions Club is what he calls it and stuff for his followers. He has a great personality for a YouTuber and like a Twitch streamer.
It's a good business model.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the best in my opinion. It's so much better than fucking PewDiePie. Go fuck yourself. God, fuck you.
How big is this guy's platform?
I'm very big. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the
several
numbers.
million.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, in the millions for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he makes enough to buy a Ferrari.
Sure. No, I'm sure
it's a big deal then.
She's got a good low to mid six-figure salary.
He has had a few scandals, like many of them. Like he took a camera into a bathroom last year, and he got banned from Twitch from it and stuff. Like, come on, just let people shit and piss in peace for God's sakes, though. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Anyways, this was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Kind of spanned the gamut towards the end there, but it's okay.
I had a lot of fun. This is nice, refreshing.
Yeah. I kind of like this format. A lot less work on my end.
Yeah. Doesn't say much. Based off of the predictions.
Oh my god.
Podcast episode.
Should we explain that?
No, we'll just let people figure it out.
Just skip to 8 minutes in.
We'll re-release it.
Re-release what? Why? They don't know.
Yeah,
Now they know.
Not mine. Mine's flawless. No, I'm kidding.
Nah, I'll call it a re-upload because it'd be out of order. Whatever, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Wait, why would it be out of order?
Because the reactions has already been released.
Because 2 other episodes have came out after it.
Oh, and it automatically puts it in order?
Yeah.
But more importantly, just the reaction one came out after.
I mean, personally,
Yes.
I
That's
don't
really
think it's that big of a deal because you're new to doing this. Like, they expect flaws.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I'll just, in the title, it's like, hey, this is a re-upload.
Yeah, or you could just
I'll record a new intro.
you could also just re-release the reactions too right after.
I would just, I wouldn't even do that.
No,
Honestly,
I
I
don't
just
think we need
tell,
to.
I just
Just
tell
release
your
the original
reader, your listeners, like, hey, when you get to this point, you got it down to the point.
No,
just,
but
like,
I
leave a
can't-
comment on that
I
section.
I can't edit it at this
Just
point because it's
make it
already out.
No, I'm saying you don't need to. Just make it a joke that, hey, you're new at it.
No, I know, but I can't, within the episode itself, I can't do anything to refer to that.
Like the description.
No one reads the description.
Okay.
I mean, I like the suggestion to kind of build off of it, but yeah, probably not.
I mean, I don't mind
I know
necessarily
nothing about
leaving it as
publishing
is, but
podcasts, too.
I also don't mind re-uploading it anyway. I don't know, whatever. May or may not do it. Doesn't really matter. This is a fun time. We'll make this happen again in the future.
Got to get you guys sweating, all of us.
I'm actually really excited for that challenge.
We'll come up with some YouTube videos.
I'm a little confused.
February, right?
Yeah, it is.
I'm a little bit confused about like how the mechanics would work.
So it starts off with what I did in class is pair programming. So like, let's say.
No, I'm just curious how like
Okay,
you
hold
guys.
on. We'll discuss this off the podcast. I'm going to sign us off for an hour and a half. All right. Peace out. Till next week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spy-Fi After Dark. If you enjoyed it, maybe consider giving us a rating or a subscription on whatever platform you might be listening on. It really helps us a lot and we really appreciate it. Hans and I will most certainly be talking about our ideas for YouTube videos and coding tutorials and all that good stuff. And if you're curious about getting updates on that, you can find me on YouTube by searching Spy-Fi. That's where I post my vlog, and I'll generally post updates inside of that vlog. Or you can find me on Instagram at MillenGrams or on Twitter at MillenTweets. That's all for me. Thank you for listening again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.